Svetlana Alliluyeva, the only daughter of Joseph Stalin, lived a life inextricably intertwined with her father's tyrannical legacy. On April 21, 1967, she made the momentous decision to defect to the United States, leaving behind a life of privilege and oppression in the Soviet Union. Her defection sent shockwaves through the world, exposing the deep fissures within the seemingly impenetrable facade of the Soviet Empire. It was a betrayal that Stalin, a man who viewed loyalty as paramount, would never forgive. Svetlana's journey to the West began in Delhi, India, where she had traveled to scatter the ashes of her deceased lover, Brajesh Singh. Finding herself increasingly disillusioned with the Soviet regime, she sought asylum at the US Embassy, a decision that would irrevocably alter the course of her life. The United States, eager to expose the cracks in the Soviet system, granted her asylum, further escalating tensions between the two superpowers. Her arrival in New York City was met with a media frenzy. The world was captivated by the story of Stalin's daughter, who had chosen freedom over the gilded cage of her upbringing. Svetlana became a symbol of hope for those living under Soviet oppression, a testament to the enduring human spirit's yearning for liberty. However, her newfound freedom came at a steep price. Leaving behind her children and severing ties with her homeland, Svetlana embarked on a life marked by both opportunity and profound loss. Her defection cast a long shadow, shaping her relationships and defining her public image for decades to come. To understand Svetlana's dramatic defection, one must delve into her complex and often tumultuous childhood. Born into the heart of the Soviet elite, Svetlana enjoyed a privileged upbringing, doted on by her father and surrounded by the trappings of power. However, her early life was also marked by tragedy and the ever-present shadow of her father's paranoia and brutality. The suicide of her mother, Nadezhda Alliluyeva, when Svetlana was just 6 years old, left a lifetime scar on her psyche. Though the official account attributed Nadezhda's death to illness, whispers of a possible murder, perhaps even by Stalin himself, circulated within the Kremlin's walls. This early exposure to violence and secrecy instilled in Svetlana a deep-seated distrust of the regime her father embodied. As Svetlana matured, she witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of Stalin's purges. Friends and family members vanished overnight, victims of her father's insatiable paranoia. The fear and uncertainty that permeated Soviet society seeped into her own life, casting a pall over her adolescence. The love and affection Stalin showered upon his little sparrow, as he affectionately called Svetlana, could not mask the suffocating control he exerted over his daughter's life. Her romantic relationships were subject to his scrutiny and often met with disapproval. Stalin's interference in her personal life served as a constant reminder that she was ultimately a prisoner of her father's legacy. Upon arriving in the United States, Svetlana was embraced by a society eager to hear her story. Her memoirs, 20 Letters to a Friend in Only 1 Year, became instant bestsellers, offering a rare glimpse into the personal life of one of history's most feared dictators. The royalties from these books provided her with initial financial security, but the public's fascination with her story proved to be fleeting. As the years passed, Svetlana struggled to reconcile her yearning for a normal life with the weight of her family's legacy. The media's relentless scrutiny and the constant reminders of her father's crimes took a toll on her mental and emotional well-being. She married several times, seeking stability and companionship, but these relationships often crumbled under the pressure of her past. Despite her initial embrace of Western ideals, Svetlana grew increasingly disillusioned with life in the United States. She found American society materialistic and shallow, a far cry from the intellectual and cultural milieu she had known in her youth. Her later years were marked by financial struggles, forcing her to rely on government assistance and the generosity of friends. To comprehend the complexities of Svetlana's life, one must delve into the enigmatic personality of her father, Joseph Stalin. Born Iosif Vissarionis Dzhugashvili in 1878 in the provincial town of Gori, Georgia, Stalin's early life was a far cry from the opulent surroundings he would later inhabit. His upbringing was marked by poverty, violence, and the stifling weight of Tsarist autocracy. Stalin's formative years were shaped by a combination of influences: the religious piety of his devoutly orthodox mother, the brutality of his alcoholic father, and the revolutionary fervor that was sweeping through Russia at the turn of the 20th century. These competing forces forged within him a complex and often contradictory personality, a blend of ruthlessness and sentimentality, piety and pragmatism. His early involvement in revolutionary activities exposed him to the doctrines of Marxism and the writings of Lenin, ideas that would profoundly shape his worldview. Stalin's commitment to the Bolshevik cause was absolute, and he quickly rose through the ranks, proving himself to be a capable organizer and a ruthless enforcer of party discipline. His early experiences in the underground movement, including bank robberies and assassinations, instilled in him a deep-seated paranoia and a willingness to use violence to achieve his aims. A web of relationships, Stalin's wives and children. Stalin's personal life was as tumultuous and shrouded in secrecy as his political career. He married twice, both unions ending in tragedy. His first wife, Ekaterina Svanidze, died of typhus in 1907, leaving him heartbroken and with a young son, Yakov. This loss deeply affected Stalin, hardening his already steely demeanor. His second marriage to Nadezhda Alliluyeva in 1919 produced two children, Vasily and Svetlana. While Stalin doted on his daughter, his relationship with his sons was strained and distant. He viewed Yakov and Vasily as disappointments, their perceived weaknesses a source of frustration for the iron-willed dictator. Stalin's control over his children's lives was absolute. He dictated their education, their career choices, and even their romantic relationships. His paranoia extended to his family, and he kept them under constant surveillance, fearing betrayal even from those closest to him. This suffocating atmosphere bred resentment and fear within the Stalin household, further complicating an already dysfunctional family dynamic. Section 6. Shadows of Doubt, the enigma of illegitimate children. Adding to the complexities of Stalin's family history are persistent rumors of illegitimate children. While these claims remain unsubstantiated, they highlight the air of secrecy and speculation that surrounded his personal life. The most well-known of these alleged offspring is Artyom Sergeyev, whom Stalin adopted after the death of his close friend Fyodor Sergeyev. Artyom's resemblance to Stalin fueled speculation about his true parentage. Despite his official status as an adopted son, Artyom enjoyed a privileged upbringing, attending elite military academies and becoming a prominent figure in the Soviet military. However, the full extent of his relationship with Stalin and the truth behind his parentage remain shrouded in mystery. The possibility of other illegitimate children born from affairs and liaisons during Stalin's years in the underground movement and his rise to power continues to intrigue historians. The lack of conclusive evidence, however, ensures that these stories remain within the realm of speculation, adding yet another layer of enigma to the already complex legacy of Joseph Stalin. Section 7. The Tsar of the Kremlin, Stalin's allure and terror. Beyond his role as a ruthless dictator, Stalin possessed a complex personality that intrigued and repelled those around him. He was known for his sharp intellect, his love of literature and Georgian poetry, and his surprisingly good singing voice. He could be charming and charismatic, capable of disarming even his staunchest critics with his wit and intelligence. However, beneath this veneer of sophistication lay a deeply paranoid and ruthless individual. Stalin's reign of terror, which claimed the lives of millions of his own citizens, stands as a chilling testament to the depths of his cruelty. He ruled through fear and intimidation, eliminating anyone he perceived as a threat, real or imagined. His paranoia extended to every aspect of his life. He surrounded himself with a coterie of loyal bodyguards, rarely venturing out in public. He distrusted even his closest confidants, fearing betrayal at every turn. This constant fear and suspicion poisoned his relationships and ultimately contributed to the isolation and loneliness that marked his final years. Svetlana's complex relationship with her father. Svetlana's relationship with her father was a complex mix of love, fear, and resentment. As a child, she adored her papa, basking in his affection and enjoying the privileges that came with being the daughter. of the most powerful man in the Soviet Union. She treasured their shared moments, reading books together or listening to him recount stories of his revolutionary past. However, as she matured, Svetlana became increasingly aware of the darker aspects of her father's nature. The purges, the disappearances, the ever-present atmosphere of fear, these realities cast a long shadow over her childhood and adolescence. She witnessed firsthand the devastating impact of his policies, the human cost of his insatiable thirst for power. Despite her growing disillusionment, Svetlana never completely abandoned her father. Even after his death, she wrestled with conflicting emotions, a daughter's love grappling with the knowledge of her father's monstrous crimes. Her defection, in many ways, can be seen as an attempt to escape the suffocating weight of his legacy, to forge her own identity separate from the shadow of his tyranny. Section 9, A Legacy Forged in Defiance. Svetlana Alliluyeva's life was a testament to the lasting power of the human spirit to seek freedom and forge its own path. Born into a world defined by her father's tyranny, she ultimately chose to break free from the gilded cage of her upbringing, embracing the uncertainties of life in the West over the suffocating conformity of Soviet society. Her defection sent shockwaves through the world, exposing the cracks in the Soviet facade and offering hope to those living under totalitarian rule. Her story serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit's yearning for liberty cannot be extinguished. While her life was marked by tragedy and loss, Svetlana never succumbed to despair. She embraced the complexities of her past, using her unique perspective to shed light on one of history's most enigmatic figures. Her legacy is one of defiance, of choosing freedom over fear, and of the enduring power of the human spirit to transcend even the most challenging circumstances. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more stories of remarkable lives.